My name is Will Ingram, and I've been living up here in Alaska for like the last 16 years. Born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, Southern boy. I run AK Boardroom downtown. I co-own that. I live life here in Alaska, skateboard, snowboard, do whatever presents itself each day in this lovely place that we live. Honestly, I never really, like 2 years ago, you asked me would I be out here shooting photos and doing something like this. No, but guys like Jovell and Mikey Huff and just the guys that were really, kind of glorifying Alaska and making it look really cool throughout social media. I just wanted to do what they're doing. I just really think we live in a beautiful place. And as a photographer, especially someone who was getting into it, I was very new to it, I didn't know what I was doing, but my surroundings were like so epic, it made it really easy to kind of excel quickly, especially being surrounded by guys that are so creative and are so talented at what they do. I kind of grew up cutting out magazine photos and putting them up all over my wall like every little skater kid, and I felt like I could shoot skateboarding. That's primarily what I focused on when I first started, and then, yeah, it just grew, and here we are, man. I've been active on Instagram and, Facebook. Pretty much whenever I post a photo though and go to bed, because I usually post late night, I wake up in the morning and you get all the notifications and all the comments, people loving it, and it just makes you feel good, and it's a great way to start the day. And I think those are my proudest moments so far, and who knows where it'll go from here. Now we're doing the artist series thing. This is a huge accomplishment for me, and like this photo in particular, I didn't really think much of it. I just went snowboarding and took a photo of a mountain that we all know and love, and people tripped on it, so here we are. So hopefully we can continue to have moments like that and just keep building. If you want to get into photography, you really gotta be passionate about it. You gotta get stoked on it. Don't just do it because you want to have cool photos on your Instagram or something like that. Do it because you actually seriously get stoked when you get a killer shot. And so I would say to anybody trying to get into it, just make sure it's something you're passionate about and it's really gonna show in your work. Yeah, I usually go by myself. Sometimes that can be sketchy. I've gone out to like a Eklutna before by myself, pitch black outside, and hiked around the lake, with like a flashlight in one hand and my Glock in the other hand, because there's so many noises and it's pitch black and you don't know what the hell's going on out there. But then sometimes there are some photographers I definitely like to go out with, and sometimes you need a partner sometimes to get a certain shot. I've seen some crazy stuff in the sky, and sometimes it just gets so ridiculous. You wish you had people around you because you want someone else to see this, and you might get a killer image on the camera, but it's still not going to show what it looked like when you were standing there watching the sky dance, and you're like, can this even be real right now? It gets so crazy. So there's definitely some emotion sometimes, and I've just sat there sometimes too, decked out in my snow gear out in the middle of nowhere by myself, just watching the stars in the sky, and it definitely gets your mind wandering into different places. And that experience also inspires the whole editing process when I go home later. I'm thinking about how I felt that night. I try to make things look as different as possible. I try to make my things look sort of extraterrestrial, I would say, but it's still recognizable, and I think that was kind of the inspiration with this whole Alyeska photo. The first time I remember going to Alyeska as a kid and coming around that bend, and it was at nighttime, and it was in January, and there was a ton of snow. Back in the day, the snow used to get, pushed to the sides of the road like 10 feet tall. So I remember coming around that bend and then, seeing the lights and seeing people night skiing and coming down the mountain, and it was just like, really, just like, wow, people do that? It's crazy to me. Me and my buddy Bryant, we went out snowboarding that night and brought my camera. We tried to get some shots on the mountain, didn't quite work out, and as we were leaving, I was just like, it looked perfect. The ground was all wet, it had just been rained on, and that gave a really nice kind of reflection off of the road, and you could see all the lights really, really well. It just looked killer, and so we pulled over and we did a few long exposure shots. One of the times it just worked out perfectly, and then that's what we got now. For me, the artist series is a pretty big deal. Watching Jovell get the artist series, I think it was last summer, that was a huge inspiration to me because it kind of drove me. I try to say that there's no competition in photo, that's not why I do anything, but being around other talented people definitely drives you to get better, and that's just, I wanted one of my photos on a shirt on people's chests, like just randomly walking downtown and see somebody I've never even seen before wearing some of my stuff. That's a really killer feeling. And I think it's also gonna drive more people to go out and do what I do because they're gonna see it and be like, hey man, I want to do that, I want to take dope photos. I'm Will Ingram, and this is going to be the first release in our artist series collection we're doing with 49 Supply Company. This one's called Alyeska After Dark.